Have you ever looked down at your left hand and noticed a mark that felt different? Maybe it's a line, a scar, a mole, or something you can't quite explain. But deep down, you sense it isn't random. What if I told you, only 1 in a million people carry this sign, and it means you're chosen for something far greater than you can imagine? Before we go deeper, I want you to pause for just a second. Look at your left hand. Do you see anything unusual? Anything that feels like it carries a story? If you do, I want you to write in the comments right now. I see it. Because when you speak it, you're not just typing words. You're declaring agreement with God's truth over your life. And if this message already feels like it's speaking to you, make sure you subscribe, because the very fact that you're here is not an accident. From the beginning of time, God has marked his chosen ones. In ancient scriptures, marks on the body weren't coincidences. They were signs of protection, purpose, and destiny. When Cain sinned, God placed a mark on him so no one would destroy him. In Revelation, God seals his servants with a mark on their foreheads. And even today, many carry marks they can't explain, marks that whisper of a hidden identity, a calling yet to be fully revealed. But why you? Why only you? Why is it that 1 in a million carry this sign? Let me ask you something personal. Do you ever feel like you don't fit in, even in your own family? Do you sometimes feel tested more than others, rejected when you've done nothing wrong, or burdened with challenges that others seem to escape? If that sounds like you, I need you to type in the comments, "That's me." Because every time you testify, you break chains off your life and confirm that you are walking in truth. The truth is, God doesn't waste rarity. Anything rare is always precious. Diamonds are rare and they're valued. Gold is rare and nations fight for it. And your mark, this sign on your left hand, is not an accident. It is rare because you are rare. It is unique because your calling is unique. Before you were born, God said, "Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. I set you apart." Your struggles aren't proof of abandonment. They're proof of being chosen. I know some of you watching right now are thinking, but if I'm chosen, why has my life been so hard? Why do I lose friends? Why do people envy me for no reason? Why do doors slam shut in my face while others get blessed so easily? Listen closely. The answer is because the chosen ones are always tested hardest. Your pain is not punishment. It's preparation. The enemy doesn't fight the ordinary. He fights the extraordinary. The fact that you've been through so much is proof that you carry something. Some of you right now are wondering, but what if I don't see a mark? Does that mean I'm not chosen? Let me answer that with love and truth. The physical mark is just one of many ways God confirms his seal on your life. Even if your hand shows nothing unusual, your life itself carries evidence. Look at the patterns. Do people sense something different about you without knowing why? Do strangers come to you for advice? Do you walk into rooms and feel either deeply loved or unfairly hated for no reason at all? These are also signs. Remember, the mark is not only skin deep. It can appear in your spirit, in your experiences, in the way you keep surviving what others could not. Sometimes the greatest mark is not on the outside, it's on your soul. That invisible strength, that unexplainable favor, that ability to rise again and again when the world expects you to fall. That's proof. If this is resonating with you, pause right now and comment. My life is the evidence. Don't hesitate, because testifying brings breakthrough. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who always felt overlooked in his family. His siblings seemed to get all the praise, all the recognition, but he carried something they didn't, a tiny scar on his left palm that he couldn't remember receiving. As he grew older, life wasn't easy. He faced rejection, betrayal, even moments of deep loneliness. But in every crisis, doors opened for him that had no reason to open. Helpers appeared out of nowhere. Opportunities showed up at the very last moment. And when he looked back, he realized God had sealed him long before he knew his purpose. That little scar was not just a scar. It was a whisper from heaven. You are chosen. I want you to reflect for a moment. Look back at your own scars, your own marks, visible or invisible. Think about how many times you should have been destroyed, and yet here you are. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's the mark of being 1 in a million. And I'm telling you, the very fact that you're hearing this right now is not random. God led you here because he needed to remind you of who you are. Stay close, because in the next moment, I'm going to reveal why chosen ones with this mark often walk through seasons of isolation, and why that isolation is not punishment but preparation. And before I share that, if you're still listening, type in the comments right now, "I'm still here." Because that simple act is proof you're pressing in, refusing to quit, and aligning yourself with the message heaven has for you. Do you ever wonder why, even though you love deeply, you often feel alone? Why even in a crowded room you can sense a distance? Why friendships don't last, relationships fall apart, and sometimes even your own family can't fully understand you? Let me tell you the truth. This isn't because you're unlovable. It's because you're chosen. The mark on your left hand is more than a symbol. It's a spiritual separation. God often pulls his chosen ones away from the crowd, because the crowd cannot handle the weight of their destiny. If you blended in too easily, you'd lose the very uniqueness that makes you powerful. That loneliness you felt? That was God's way of protecting you from the wrong people, the wrong circles, the wrong influences. Let me say this. Chosen ones are never meant to walk the easy path. The easy path is crowded, but your path is narrow, and though it feels lonely at times, it leads to greatness. You might not see it now, but those nights of tears, those seasons of silence, those times you questioned if God had forgotten you, they were actually the times he was preparing you. He was carving you, molding you, setting you apart. I want you to write this in the comments right now. My isolation is my preparation. Because every time you declare it, you're reminding your spirit that rejection was never about you being less. It was about you being more valuable, more dangerous to the enemy, more necessary for God's plan. Think about it. Diamonds don't form on the surface. They form in pressure, in hiddenness, deep underground. Oil doesn't rise in open air. It comes from pressing, from crushing, from being buried. And you, your life, your mark, is the same. You have been hidden, pressed, and misunderstood, not because you're nothing, but because you're priceless. And here's the revelation. The mark on your left hand is God's reminder that even when you feel alone, you are never abandoned. That mark is his seal saying, "You are mine. I have chosen you. I will not let you go." Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll explain why this mark attracts both divine favor and demonic attack, and why people react to you in ways they can't even explain. But before we step into that, I want you to comment right now, "I am sealed," because that declaration alone builds a shield around your spirit. Have you ever noticed how some people just don't like you without reason? You walk into a room and suddenly there's tension. You succeed at something, and instead of being celebrated, people become silent or jealous. Sometimes you share your dreams, and people laugh, doubt, or even secretly hope you fail. Chosen one, let me reveal why this happens. The mark on your left hand is not invisible in the spirit realm. People may not physically see it, but their spirit senses it. When they look at you, they don't just see a person. They see God's seal. They see favor. They see a future they can't explain. And for some, that triggers inspiration. But for others, it stirs jealousy and even hatred. The truth is, the mark makes you both a magnet for blessings and a target for attacks. This is why your enemies seem obsessed with you, why gossip follows you, why spiritual warfare surrounds you. They're not fighting your personality, they're fighting your purpose. They sense something they can't destroy, no matter how hard they try, and that frustrates them. But here's the good news. Every attack against you is already defeated. The same God who placed the mark also placed a hedge of protection around you. The reason you've survived every storm, every betrayal, every heartbreak, is because God's seal cannot be erased. Even the devil himself can't remove what God has placed on your life. That's why you're still standing. That's why you're still rising. That's why, even after everything, you're watching this right now, because heaven has been fighting for you. Think about it. Look at your journey. How many times did people think you were finished? How many times did they underestimate you? And yet, here you are, stronger, wiser, closer to God. That's not a coincidence. That's proof of who you are, proof of the mark, proof that you are one in a million. I want you to pause right now, look at your left hand one more time, and declare out loud, "This is my evidence. I am chosen. I am covered. I am unstoppable." Write it in the comments too, because your testimony has power, not just for you, but for someone else who needs this encouragement today. And now, hear me clearly. This mark is not a burden. It is a blessing. It is God's signature over your life. It is his way of saying, "You are mine. I will use you. I will bless you. I will protect you." You don't need to be afraid of the enemies, the jealousy, or the attacks, because no weapon formed against you shall prosper. The mark is greater than the opposition. So, what's next? This is your moment to embrace who you truly are. Don't hide anymore. Don't doubt anymore. Don't compare yourself to siblings, friends, or strangers. You carry something they don't. You carry heaven's seal, and it's time to rise with confidence. If this message reached your heart, I want you to do 3 things. Comment below, I claim my mark. Subscribe right now, because more revelations are coming, and you don't want to miss them.